Hey, babe.
Hey, love. This feels weird doing it during the middle of the day.
It is a little different.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to, but I'm talent, so I can kind of go whenever I need to go. But it is a little different than doing it in the evening.
We work around your schedule. That is for sure.
Speaking of, I got about 45 minutes, so we got to make this one pretty quick.
This tight today. Yep. I feel like the lighting's not quite right because I feel like you are a little bit cloudy on that video.
Yeah, maybe so. We'll work on that later, though.
So
see, this one's yellow and that one's white. That's what I tried to tell you.
Well, right. So you said like that one needed to be more
daylight, which is that. This is yellow.
Okay. Well,
but we'll fix that next time.
I don't have an assistant in here to come fix that right this second. But there is something new in this picture if you're watching this on YouTube. What is it?
The Life's Little Argument sign.
It's my amazing Life's Little Argument sign. Now, I don't know. Right now, we're looking at this, and it's backwards. So I don't know when.
We'll flip it when you do the editing.
Yeah, you say that. But
I'm pretty sure. That's what Chris Dunn has told me before. And my dad, he reminds me every time something's backwards. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, so we'll see.
But anyway, that's pretty obvious, so we got to fix that for sure.
Well, yeah.
And it shows up a lot better when it's dark. When it's dark inside here, so.
I think it shows up great right now, too.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
So how did we get this sign?
So this is such a sweet story. Our nephew, Colby.
Shout out
Colby. He watches the podcast, and he's a podcast listener, not just of us, but I think he watches other podcasts. And so when he does the podcast, he watches them on things like YouTube. Right, or possibly little clips where you see them places. Well, and I know this to be true. So Colby said he called you. Actually,
yeah.
Maybe you should tell the story, and then I'll tell you.
Well, yeah. So he just called me and said, "Hey, let's make sure that Annie and I pull each other's names at Christmas because at Christmas time we do all the gift exchange. You pull one name, that's who you buy it for." And so we've only done that a year or two now, and we're going to have to switch it up a little bit, but that's kind of irrelevant to this. But he says, I got to make sure I get Annie's name. I was like, wow, what's going on? And he was, I'm talking about like giddy excited. I mean, he's like cracking up over the phone, and he's like, man, I love y'all's podcast. I love watching it. He said, but the one thing that y'all are missing is you don't have a neon sign in the back. And he's like, every podcast I watch has a neon sign, and I'm not a big podcaster.
Accurate. That is accurate.
Yeah, I'm not a big podcaster, but I at least know that. And so I was like, okay, cool, yeah. I said, now Colby, like, these things aren't cheap. Like, don't feel like you have to. And he's like, no, I want to. I think it's going to be awesome. I love y'all's podcast. Blah blah blah. So that was, let's just call it 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago.
I don't know. I wasn't here.
And then we get a call last week. And my sister was like, hey, are you guys at home? I'm like, no, but Annie is. And she was like, well, he got the sign in and he wants to go ahead and give it to her. I'm like, oh, my God. So he's like me. Like when I get somebody surprised, like it's not going to continue to be a surprise. No he got excited, and then they came over. The fact I told him is just go knock on the door, ring the doorbell, whatever. Well, then Annie doesn't, like, they're ringing the doorbell and I don't think she's going to answer because she's probably thinking it's
I was up here working and I'm like, who is this? This is I forget what day this was.
It was in the evening sometime too.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, this is probably the Pine Straw guy. I'm not answering the door. But they keep knocking or whatever. So I like tiptoe down the stairs and I'm like, okay, I see who it is. I can let him in.
Whole family came over. And so it's in the box. It's like literally it's opened, but it's just in the box that it came in. And so he wants to give it to me. And I open it and I immediately start getting a little emotional because this for me is like full circle moment where I had a neon sign. If you ever came in the store, I had a neon sign at the store and it said, I'm not even sure. Hey, gorgeous.
What did it say?
Hey, gorgeous. No, buy now or cry later.
Buy now or cry later.
Jeez,
oh my God, I cannot believe I forgot that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we went back and forth on what we were going to say.
It was a lot of money to purchase this sign, and it's something that I really, really wanted for my store. And so, like year 2, I, got it. It added no value to the store, by the way. Like it was not a smart purchase as far as spending money, but I wanted it really badly, and so I got it. And I was very attached to that neon sign, and couldn't foresee why I would need this sign, so I sold it when we were closing the store. But the fact
your voice is sounding really raspy right now, which
thanks.
I like it. It's sexy to me.
These allergies are killing.
I love allergy season.
Colby watches podcasts. He told me, he said, I watch podcasts. I love y'all's podcast, and every podcast that I watch, they have the sign of the name of the podcast behind them. And of course, I know this to be true, and so I was just like, that was the sweetest gift that possibly anybody could give to me at this point in time, because I loved my neon sign at the store so much, and I knew I was going to decorate this with something else, but I knew in the back of my mind I would have loved to have a neon sign, but I'm not going to even suggest that because Kent will probably flip his lid. He already is you've got to freaking be kidding me that you wanted to make it a little setup like this, but I of course wanted to decorate it as well. But so anyway, that was
to my defense, her human design is one that pew 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 pew. So forgive me, in the beginning when I'm okay, let's get a few episodes under our belt before we start buying this and buying that and buying this.
That is fair.
And here's it: we're fixing this shit next time, because I feel like you're trying to dull me. You look crisp and clean with the daylight, and then I'm over here with the 1970s. Smoker lamp on, and you try to dull talent.
If
whatever.
only one of the dogs could jump up and change that, that'd be great.
I know.
Anyway, so Colby was she has to have a sign for her podcast. She's like, you are a real podcaster now that you've got your neon sign. So that made me very emotional, and that was the absolute sweetest thing. And it was very cute that he could not wait until...
I wish you could have heard him laughing
Christmas.
On the phone call. He was giddy.
I wish you could have been here.
Yeah.
I hate that you weren't here to see...
So we did a little video on Facebook the day we got, because I knew he'd want to see it away. But when I tell you my nephew's got the biggest heart, I mean probably the biggest heart of anyone I've ever met. And
he just like you in that. Now, and maybe Brian and Angie are like that as well. But that is definitely, you have that same characteristic.
Yeah.
It is definitely a you get so excited. Matter of fact, I remember when you proposed to me. I think you literally proposed to me the day the ring came, because you got the ring from Blue Nile. You designed it with somebody over the phone or whatever, and so it had to be shipped to you. And I think your original intent was to possibly do it because we were headed down to Disney with your family, and you were possibly going to do it there. And no, could not wait.
No.
The day it came in the mail, I think I even remember you telling me you had it shipped to your mom's house. She met you after work, and then you came straight to Gray.
Sounds very plausible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So it was very much the same kind of thing. So it was super cute. It's the cutest touch. I absolutely love it, and we are not really centered underneath it, so I'll have to fix that because that's gonna drive me a little bit crazy. But I love it. It's the best.
So good job, Colby.
Thank you, Colby. That was the sweetest. So, but now the pressure is on, because that means I have Colby for Christmas and I have got to bring it. Yeah. So this is pressure.
I already have a couple of ideas, so I think
have
we'll
an
be
idea
safe.
too, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see about that. I also kind of wanted to just reflect a little bit on our last two episodes, because our last two episodes have been pretty heavy.
Yeah.
I would say, as emotionally heavy. We've gone over, some dynamics that were in our relationships with the kids, exes, different stuff like that. And so it was very emotional. And I think and even the one before that, gosh, I think we talked about the fertility or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but the last two specifically, I wanted to just reflect on them just a little bit, because I felt like the last episode was so heavy on... I listened to it probably 5 different times on different streaming platforms plus on YouTube, and it just gave me the feeling of, man, Annie, you sound like a bitch. That's what I felt like. And I don't know that I've had other people listen to it and they've told me that they didn't feel like that, but it's how I felt. And I can come across like that. I don't have a problem coming across like that. That's not the problem. But what I really wanted to say is that we're talking about these things that have happened, and when you're talking about it this many years later, it's kind of in a bubble. What are you smiling at? What are you laughing at?
It's so unrelated, but anytime you wear your hair like this, it reminds me of John and Kate plus 8. I swear. And now you're talking about coming across like a bitch, and it just made me think about Kate, because she used to go in on John on those shows. But every single time you wear your hair like...
I hate you.
I'm sorry.
It's getting hair done day today.
Yeah.
My God Almighty, I am getting gray. I did not realize how gray I was getting until it's been darker on top.
You should own it. No, go blonde again.
No, I'm not doing that.
I think what you're getting at though is like our relationship with our kids and with each other, and like we've had a good relationship over the years, and I think that when you try to condense, let's just call it 18 years worth of history in 2 episodes, you have to kind of pick and choose what you're going to talk about. And I think that we were trying to just get across the parts that were more challenging for us. I'm messaging with somebody right now, and they're like, my husband and I are going to start talking about the co-parenting stuff more because it is a challenge. And I had somebody send me a message that I forwarded over to you that was talking about, when Annie said I'll forgive but never forget.
You were like, this stuff, stuff
that just hits,
spoke to my soul.
So I don't think anyone took it as, man, y'all, suck at co-parenting, or y'all, your kids are, I think that they just took it as you have a limited amount of time to talk about it, and the challenges that we talked about are things that I suspect a lot of people face. So, I think that what I was happy with is, you later asked Lauren, had she listened to it, which of course she had. I mean, as soon as she knew she was going to be the topic,
yes, she was very excited about that.
So I think that her responses to it were very mature. You can tell she had thought about it. You could tell she was feeling certain things. And so I'm glad that there was an avenue or a forum for us to kind of talk about those things. She listened to it. She'd be at a stage now where it kind of makes sense to her and she can communicate on it. Jackson, I have no idea if he's listened to it or not.
Well, so Jackson, no, he's not going to listen to the podcast, but I did send him the podcast link, and I told him, start at 58 minutes. I want you to start at 58 minutes. I think it's really important for you to listen to this portion because I think you said some things that were very important for him to know that you've said those things. And so the text conversation that went back and forth between us is he's like, I harbor no, resentment, no ill will. You guys did the best that you can, and I love you guys so much. I appreciate you all being my parents and everything that you provided for me. And, I am the person that I am because of both of you. But it was very nice for a grown man to be willing to admit and say that he was sorry for, some of those things. He's like, it's all water under the bridge. There's nothing that has impacted my life that is detrimental to me. Now, he's saying that at 25. He may feel differently at 45. I don't know. But, so it was very good. And then, I wanted to make sure before Lauren listened to the episode,
He's 24, by the way.
Well, that's true.
He'll be 25
Actually,
next
he's
month.
going to be 24.
Yeah. No, he'll be 25 next month. No, this is 2024.
He'll be 24.
Yeah.
And so I, had the conversation with Lauren of, we spoke about some things. We said some things about you. We also said some things about our experiences with your mom. I said that doesn't mean that you have to feel that way. And you may have had a different experience, and that's completely fine. This is our experience. But really what I wanted to say is that if we said anything that you felt you wish we wouldn't have, then you need to tell me immediately. There's absolutely zero hard feelings. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I'm not going to be mad, whatever. I said, I never want to say anything that you and Jackson are going to be upset by. So you need to tell me those things. And so I told her that going into it. And then after, she immediately, as soon as I walked in the door, after she had listened to it that day, she immediately found me in the laundry room. And was like, I really hadn't thought about this, but now that you guys kind of said it, it makes sense and, whatnot. And so after she said that, we let it marinate a little while, and we talked through it a little bit. And then, the next day, I kind of said something again just to make sure that, I don't want to influence how you felt, but I do want you to talk to me about how you felt in these things. So I think it opened up the line of communication even more for her, so I was really glad about that.
So I appreciate you doing that as well. And you and I had some conversation around it. She and I have had a little bit of conversation around it, but the two of you talking, I think, was important as well. So
and so that's really what I wanted to talk about. The fact, like you said, condensing 18 years into, or however long it's been, into 2 hours is a lot, and we didn't even probably scratch the surface. I'm sure there's a lot of other things that we could talk about, and we probably will at some point as they come up naturally. But that was just something that somebody, they wanted to hear our take on it, and so we shared it. So I thought that was good. So what else has been going on?
It's working like crazy.
You have been working a lot. I love it.
Been very blessed. Been very blessed. So.
I'm so thankful, because when you are not as busy, it causes a lot more friction, I feel like, between us.
Yeah, because I realize the stuff you do gets in my nerves a little bit.
And you obviously
you got on my nerves. I like to work. I like to be hustling. I like to be moving. So when I'm not, that friction probably is as much a representation of me more than anything else.
It is.
Am I saying that the right
boredom.
way?
Yeah, it's you don't do well with boredom. Yeah. Like me, I'm never like bored. Like I'm always going to be sitting. I just realized I didn't put deodorant on.
Shocker.
Yeah.
This is my life, y'all. This is my life. At least that we're here at the house and she can change it versus
I can do that. I would have deodorant
somewhere
at the store, because I would do that pretty frequently. Forget to put deodorant on. Anyway, bored. I'm never bored. Like I'm going to be sitting at my desk. I'm always learning. If there is something, if I don't have something going on that I need to be doing, then I'm going to be learning something that I'm interested in at my desk. Like I'm not a TikTok scroller. I'm not an Instagram. Like you will see me posting these things, making some, or commenting on your things, sporadically on Facebook. But I am not a scroller. It's not how I spend my time. I usually am doing other things that I love to learn about. You, on the other hand, that is not you. You get bored. You're going to be on your phone,
watching Netflix.
Netflix. You do some other stuff when you're bored too, but we don't have to talk about that today. That's a different podcast.
Dang, girl. Which, by the way, I am growing the beard back out, and I do agree. The beard does look a lot better.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm so glad you said that, because now it is on. We have it recorded, and I can play it back to you next time.
Listen, I say that every time. When I shave my beard off, I speaking of boredom, I just get bored every few months, and I'm like, okay, let me take it off. I normally leave it off for a day or two, and it goes back.
Yeah, so. No, the problem was last time you're like, I think I look pretty good like this.
Well, but I did. There was some pictures that were good that I was like, I don't hate it. Now there were some other ones that I hated, but anyhow, I just thought about it since I can see it in the.
Anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that. Was I going somewhere with that?
No.
Okay, so I'm glad that you have been busy because. Anyway, and so I have recently taken on a client that is a boutique client, and I am getting her website put together. Organized, making new collections, cleaning it all up, and then putting in inventory for her. And I started doing that yesterday, and I started to get a little bit of PTSD. I was like, this is bringing back a little bit, just because it's so unorganized. It was giving me stress, because that's one thing that I felt like I was pretty on top of. Was my website,
organization?
My website being the way that I wanted it to be, my inventory to be on. The inventory in store matched the inventory on. That was
okay. I'll give you that.
I was anal about that, and when it didn't match, it threw me. I hated it, but I was pretty anal about that. And hers is all over the freaking place. And so I had her on the phone yesterday. I said, "This is just going to be easier. I'm wasting my time putting this stuff in." And you are then telling me, okay, I've already sold that. So let's just get on the phone. I'm going to look at all your inventory that you sent over to me, and let's go through it line by line. You tell me. And so we're doing that. I'm like, okay, it says that you had 12 of these shipped. So do you still have 12? No, I think I probably have 5. Wait, what do you mean you think you probably have? This needs to be exact. This is not I think. But that is her business.
That's her human design.
No, it's not her human. No, it's not.
You don't know that.
I do know this, and what I also know is it's not my problem. She paid me to put the inventory in. I'm gonna put the freaking inventory in and keep it moving. So, but I did do something. When I started to do it, I told Alexa to play Southern Crush Boutique on Spotify, because that was the old list song playlist that we played in the store. And if you were in the store, it was a great playlist. So if you are a Spotify listener and you want to hear that playlist, that's all you got to do is ask for it on Spotify.
Really?
I'm pretty sure it's shared and anybody can pull it up and play it.
So between this sign back here and you helping this other boutique owner, like, this is really...
It really is.
Sparked some memories for you guys.
It really has. And so, plus, I felt like putting that playlist on would get me in a groove to where I could really just fly through this inventory. But
that makes sense.
What I have found out is you cannot fly through home decor inventory. That is a nightmare, and I realize I'm not charging enough. So next time we're gonna have a conversation of, okay, something's got to change. We got to change a few of these things because this is not worth my time.
But I like this though because you get a little taste of the boutique again without the stresses that kind of come with it and everything else. So.
Well, that's not 100% true because I'm looking at the prices that she's paid for some of the things and it's stressing me out. And then I have to realize this is not your money, Annie. Don't worry about it. But
get out of here.
I was worried for her because I'm like, this is a stupid amount you just paid for this, but not my problem. Not my problem. So
next week when you decide to do this, I want you to make sure you go to Kroger in the interim. Because I was a little fired up when I came home and you had not gone to Kroger yesterday.
You know what? That's a whole you can kiss my ass moment.
No, I'm not kissing your ass.
That was stupid.
No.
That was dumb.
Disagree. Agree to disagree. But,
well,
but here we are.
Please, can you tell then so people can weigh in on if it was an agree to disagree or if you're being idiotic?
I'm not being idiotic.
You were being idiotic.
I've been busting my ass, and you know that I eat lunch here every day.
Okay, first of all, I told you at 10 o'clock in the morning, I will not have gone to Kroger and have your stuff home.
That was the day before.
Lunch.
That was the day before
not.
You said that.
No, most certainly yesterday was Monday.
Anyhow,
this is Tuesday.
You
I
had
said
plenty
it
of time.
yesterday.
You had plenty of time.
I did not have plenty of time.
And then I get home after working, and I'm exhausted, and you say we still haven't gone to the grocery store.
Right.
So, and I listen, I'm not one of these, the woman needs to go to the grocery store. I do not mind at all going to the grocery store. She and I go together all the time. Now, I'm not going to be like my brother-in-law and go by myself every time. That's not going to happen. But the point being, like I don't know. I think I was just tired yesterday. But I was like, girl, you could have gone to the freaking grocery store.
No.
Because we ended up having to go get dinner last night, too.
Yes, poor us had to go get dinner. So,
I like eating at the house.
Us.
I like eating at the house.
No, it was a little bit of a dickhead moment, but you came in and went to the couch and fell asleep instead. So
for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, you weren't really a jerk about it until you woke up. So, that's fine, whatever. I don't have a problem telling you you're being a dick. So, that's never really been an issue for us.
Yeah, not at all.
And speaking of, okay, so
that's why you look like Kate.
You know what?
Go ahead. I watched an episode of them.
Why do you have to speak so loud when you first start
I watched
your
an episode of them. And I don't know if it was on YouTube, wherever I saw it. And she legit, I think it was on TikTok, she legit looked at the camera or looked over and was like, "Can you stop breathing? You're breathing so loud into this microphone."
I feel that.
And John's looking like, what the? Like, seriously? That's the way she talked to him all the time. And then they said that he left her the next day or something.
Oh.
And I don't know if that's true or not, but she was verbally and mentally abusive to that dude. She was
like
just,
it.
gosh, she was such a bitch.
Your chewing does get on my nerves. In the morning.
Everybody's chewing gets on everybody's nerves.
Does it?
Yeah.
Like it's the granola bar. That's specifically the granola bar.
It's a crunchy granola bar.
But like it's not the it's not necessarily the sound. It's the speed at which you chew it. I'm like, why do you have to chew so
I don't know
quickly?
that I have ever listened to anyone. Carrie Underwood, I would make an exception for her, but outside of Carrie Underwood, I have never sat at a table when it's quiet. That's why I like the TV playing during dinner time. But I have never sat at a table when it's quiet. There's
no way you're hearing my chewing over yours. It cannot be possible.
You know why it is possible? Because I'm halfway done with my meal before you even sit down.
That's true.
But I
don't know why you got to eat.
But Jackson wasn't his chewing as much as it was his drinking. Lauren, you just have to look at the mess she makes on her hands. Stop turning talent down. Turn me down one more time.
So
I'm going to get up and leave.
You're like literally so loud. You're screaming into the microphone.
You with your that noise. So everybody's got it. So don't even come at me like my chewing is whatever. But okay, Keep telling yourself that.
It's annoying. So anyway, this weekend, what did we do this weekend? We watched the Georgia game. Thank God they pulled it out and won. I knew my daddy Kirby would.
We were at somebody's house. Had a few people over there. First half was phenomenal. We were like, yeah. And of course, the people we hang out with, for whatever reason, they can't stay up past 9 o'clock.
Listen, I don't like being at somebody else's house for a 7:30 game. I don't want to be out that late. I like to be comfy.
So you're like them.
House.
I get it. So anyhow, we all decided we're going to leave at halftime. Well, on the way home. 15-minute drive.
Not even. Literally, I don't think we pulled out of the road.
Right. 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns by Texas. And I'm like, you've got to be shitting. Annie's texting some of our other friends. We left too early.
Fault.
Yeah, so anyways, the game ended up being okay. But, man, we were like, God, why did we do that? So,
and you did something stupid. Like, I don't know what it was you kicked. Did you kick something or did you hit something?
I kicked a box.
That was stupid.
It was not stupid. What was stupid was that second and targeting call.
Well, that was dumb. Like, it is absolutely unhinged, insane for you to go kick a freaking box because of this game that you have zero control over.
Guilty.
It's ridiculous.
Just because I have zero control does not mean I have zero passion. And my frustration came out because it was us against the world. Kirby even said it. We were playing against those referees.
We were. And
there's not a person in America who is objective who can say otherwise.
I'm sure there's an Alabama fan out there somewhere that could say that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so we didn't play Alabama.
So we did that. I did not drink. I'm just not.
I didn't drink either.
I've said that in a couple of times.
I even went and picked up.
I thought you did.
No, I even went and picked up beer. Well, not take that back. I had gotten some beer the day before when I played golf. But I took it with me, but I didn't end up drinking either.
You played golf the day before that?
Yeah, with Nathan and Randall and Max.
Yeah. So
if you want to call what I did.
So the next morning, woke up fine, feeling great. As opposed to the weekend before, which was after the Halloween party, and that was a bad day. That was a bad Sunday. So I felt great, but so our friends were gonna do like Sunday fun day, like go have brunch in Macon, and probably just hop to a few bars, and we kind of went back and forth on it, and like I couldn't really get a good. You didn't seem like you were like super excited to go, but then you were like, well, I'll go, and I'm like, well, I'll go, but I'm not really super excited to go. I don't really want not to go. I wanted to go do something because it was beautiful out. And we had thought about taking the dogs to the Society Garden because they had like a little pumpkin patch thing and the food truck there. And so I think that we weren't going to go downtown. We were going to stay to go do that. And instead, everything fell apart.
What did we do?
I became unhinged. Do you recall why?
We got in a fight?
Yes, unhinged.
On Sunday?
An unhinged fight on Sunday, yes.
I remember yelling at one point, but I don't remember what. I have no clue what it was about. I probably forgot about it 5 minutes later.
We'll talk about it because it's interesting actually. So I think you had already started your seasonal clothes switch over. I don't know if we've talked about that before. Like 2 times a year, you do the annual switch over. Semi-annual switch over.
Right.
You take your summer clothes, spring clothes, you put those up. You get your fall, winter clothes out, switch those over, and we put them in space saver bags, put them back in the attic.
And when I do mine, it's all in one day. Like I pull the fall and winter out, I put them in piles, and I immediately start washing. And so as soon as they come out of the dryer, they go into the closet. Next pile load goes in. All my spring and all my summer are put in space saver bags and put up in one day. All of my fall and winter are taken out and cleaned and laundered and put up in one day. So that's a very important distinction here.
It's an important distinction. So where the fight started was your piles. Fucking piles of clothes, because where do they go every time you do laundry? Floor. Where in the floor?
I'm going to say in the walkway, because that's what you're going to say.
Walkway. The only walkway that goes from the bedroom to the bathroom.
There's no other option.
Pretty important.
There's no other. It's the only walkway.
It is not.
Where do you want me to put them?
You could put them in front of the dresser. It would be fine. I am not walking in front of that dresser 18 times a day. I am instead walking from the living room or in the bedroom, anywhere, into the bathroom 18 times a day. So
It's hard to step over that pile
when
of
I
clothes.
when I have slippers on that are fall off my feet, to have to step over
Oh my God,
3 huge piles of clothes.
You sound so stuck up right now.
It's not being stuck up. It's courteous. You're all about being fucking courteous to other people and
Right.
wanting other people to be courteous to you. It's the most uncourteous thing you could possibly do. I have said it multiple times, and it doesn't change. So instead, I'm like, you know what?
I'm going to kick them.
I think, I first of all, I said, like, why do these have to be here? And your response was something like smart-assy, like, where else would I put them? I'm like, I don't know, not put them in the way where I can walk. And so your response was just like what your response is now. Like, it's ridiculous. You're telling me you can't freaking step over the piles, and it sent me at that point. And so I'm like, you know what? I got something for your piles. And so I kicked one of your piles to put them all together, because I assume you had them sorted into...
Of course I did.
You know, what is going to go into the laundry. So I kicked one of the piles into the other pile.
You got crazy.
Take that. Sort these bitches back out. Take that. And so
Took me 2 minutes.
I did that. And so I poked my head out the door and I said, take this, watch this. And I kicked the pile. And then I went about my business. And so I'm like, okay, what are we going to wear today? So like, at this point, we're still trying to, like, we're going to go out.
There's
we're going to
raspy
go.
Voice again.
Yeah. We're still at this point planning on taking the dogs and going, either meeting people downtown or going to the sighting, whatever. And so I'm like in my closet. I'm like, I don't have anything to wear. Like, this weather is, because I have not done this switch over at this point. And so I still have all summer stuff in my closet. And I'm like,
from the last summer, because
Sure.
she didn't do it last year.
No, that's not true. I did.
Sure.
I got proof.
Okay.
How would I have pulled all these clothes that were winter clothes out of the attic if I didn't do it? Thank you. So, I am in my closet. I'm like, I really don't know what I'm going to wear. And
the weather's a little tricky right now, too.
It was something about that statement that pissed you off. You're like, say it one more fucking time and we're not going, or something. And I was like, say what? That I don't have anything to wear? And you're like, say it one more time. And so I'm like, okay, I don't have anything to wear. How about that? Is that what you wanted to hear me say one more time? And so at that point, I walked back out of the closet and I went into the living room, or I would let the dogs out or something. And I came back and you had taken the few clothes that I did have down, because I needed a sweatshirt or something.
The few clothes as in 7 Space Saver bags?
No, it was like 3, because I was looking for a particular sweatshirt.
Okay.
And so I had a couple of bags down that were not unpacked. You took them and you like dumped them out and you poured them all over the bed, and then you
all over the room.
And you took them from the bed, you put them on the floor, all over the floor.
In the bathroom. In the tub.
You put some
I threw them bitches everywhere. I don't care. And what's even funnier is, so she finally takes the steps to do the switch over. I'm helping her. I think it took us like 2.5 hours or whatever. Well, then we thought we were done. Well, then I go into the...
Wait, you're jumping ahead.
Oh,
we're not to that point in the story
Girl.
yet. Because the funny part is that you started pouring these clothes everywhere. And that is so unlike you. It is so outside of what you would ever do that it was funny to me at that point.
I was fed up.
You put them in the tub. They were everywhere. You even put some by the front door. And so I'm like, okay, cool. So I said, okay, cool. I got you. I said, the funny part is, I don't give a damn. Those clothes can stay on our bed for weeks. It does not bother me one bit. It's going to bother you. You're the one that's going to, I could leave this for 2 hours and it's going to drive you insane.
And I would make your life miserable.
It would drive me insane. So what did I do? So I went back up to I'm like, okay, we're not going anywhere. You're like, we're not going anywhere. I'm like, nope, not going now. And so I go upstairs into the attic, pull the rest of my clothes out. And so they're in Space Saver bags. And so I bring them to the top of the stairs. And so I know this was going to actually completely piss you off. And so I take it and give it one flip, and then it just like flips down all the way down the stairs. And you're like, you're going to freaking
poke holes in the Space Saver bags. Space Saver bags.
Yeah, Space Saver bags. I'm like, I don't care. And so I get the next one, and I don't flip it, but I just shove it.
Your level of maturity on Sunday afternoon was through the roof.
And I like just give it a little shove, and it goes like halfway, and then I get the next
dogs
one.
are sitting there watching it go down the stairs.
Like bang, 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 bang. And then I get the next one, I do the same thing. And so Did that bother you?
Yeah, of course it did. I was like, okay, whatever. This is so immature.
And so once I got them all down the stairs, I opened them up and I poured them out. I poured them all over your side. I poured them in the floor. I threw them around the house. Like, I picked them up and I was slinging them, throwing them everywhere. We had clothes everywhere.
Literally everywhere.
Everywhere. And so I left them. I'm like, okay. And after I did all that, after I poured all the clothes out everywhere, I said, okay, Lauren, you want to go to lunch? And she's like, yeah. I said, okay, go throw your clothes on. So she and I threw our clothes on and we left. He's like, you're literally going to leave with everything like this? Yes. You're not inviting me? No, you're not invited. Me and Lauren are going to lunch. You're seriously going to go to lunch without me? Yeah, I am. Bye. And so Lauren and I got ready and we left and we went to lunch.
That was a lot of detail that I left out.
It was a ton of detail that you left out.
And man, you're such a good storyteller.
You have to have that detail in there because
I know.
It's important.
I can listen to you all day.
Shut the fuck up. It's important because I'm going to bring it back around. So.
Okay. Bring it back around.
Okay, hold on a second. So we ended up, Lauren and I went, she calls Jackson, wants to know if Jackson wants to go to lunch. Jackson ends up coming to lunch. And at that point, we're getting gas. We have to wait on Jackson anyway. So I'm like, just text your dad and tell him to like bring the dogs and come on. And so she did. And so you met. So it ended up being like, not going with the friends, ended up being really nice that it was a beautiful day. We went to Freddy's, which I was feeling like I wanted greasy food, like I had a hangover, even though I didn't. So I'm like, subconsciously, I feel like Sunday's supposed to be like greasy hangover food. So we went there and we sat outside and both the kids were there and the dogs were there. And we had a really good conversation, I feel like, with the kids. So it was really super nice and enjoyable. But we get a text from Nicole and she's like, are the Kilcos coming? I'm trying to get a head count. And I was like, nope. We are unhinged today, so therefore we will not be coming.
No.
And she's like, LOL, okay. So
we get home, we take care of the clothes, we put them all away. It takes us 2.5, because I remember you saying it starts at 8 o'clock, and I think we ended at about...
I wanted to watch Hocus Pocus. Yeah. It's October, it's spooky month, and so you got to watch Hocus Pocus.
So I think we ended at about 10:15, but the point being is when we were done, we thought we were done. I have to go to the restroom, so I walk into the restroom where the toilet area is, and I look, and there were like 4 sweatshirts.
Giggling.
There were like 4 sweatshirts still in the tub.
I was like, I hate you.
And so we weren't officially done.
No,
so
because I like to.
At that point, you're just laughing about it.
It was funny. But you know what? I thought about when I was talking to the kids. Lauren was like, are you going to tell Jackson about the fight y'all had? I was like, what fight? Like, that to me was not a fight. Like,
that's just a life's little argument.
I guess it was a fight, and to other people, it sounds unhinged. When I tell it out loud, it does sound unhinged. And I, for whatever reason, I love that word.
That's like when we say, bitch, please, or shut the fuck up. Like, we're not really saying it in a mean way. That's just the way we... I guess kind of.
Well, first of all, I don't say bitch please, and you.
Okay, I don't. I mean, I'm just saying.
You've said it on here a couple of times, and I'm like, that's your warning. Don't do it again. And I have said one thing to you, and you're like, that's your warning. Don't do it again. So we don't really say things like that, but.
But the point being, like when we cuss, very rarely are we like.
It's not the cussing.
Like
it's
being
the
mean.
Yelling. It's the yelling and the screaming. And what I told them is I think so I never did this when the kids were little. Like when the kids were little, that I did my best to let them know they did. Yeah, we were. I did not want them to know we were fighting, and we did not argue and scream and yell. It just
lasted for 3 or 4 days.
It did.
This option now is so much better.
Right,
it's so much better.
I think it is very healthy. Honestly, when's the last time you threw something? Like, obviously, you kicked a box the night before. That's not great. But when's the last time I was trying to think, when's the last time I've thrown something, like in anger? Like, I'm so freaking fed up with you and threw something.
I can't even remember.
Right. So the fact of throwing, I physically was throwing these clothes, like balling them and slinging them. Like, just... And it was so therapeutic to get all of that anger out. By the time I was done, and it was like, you know what? Send a text to your dad. He needs to come. And by the time you got there, I'm like, it's over. Like, this was not an argument that lasted all day. It wasn't miserable. It's literally, we screamed, we threw stuff. It was done. I got the anger out. Like, it's done. But so the anger came, it had a release. It was just, I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
I'll do this all day, every day.
It might not seem smart, or it might sound to people like they have lost their total shit. But I'm telling
they would think that
it.
about you for sure.
For sure,
yeah, absolutely.
Sure. And that's okay.
But I would take that 100 out of 100 times versus you bottling it up, and it this lasting for hours or days, or the kid saying, "Okay, what's her problem? Did you piss her?" You know,
so good. And then we went. Lauren and I went shopping after.
So it's healthy. It's healthy to do that.
It's so healthy. And so she and I went shopping, and I originally, when I left the house, I'm like, he's fixing to pay because I'm going shopping, and I am going on a tear. He is fixing to shit his pants when I come home. But then by the time I got there, I'm like, I don't really feel that way anymore. So, but I did. Lauren and I went, and before we left, I'm like, are you going shopping with me? She's like, yeah. I'm like, do you have your wallet? Because homegirl ain't buying your stuff. Like, you need to have your wallet working, girl. And so, yeah.
And what'd she say to you when you were checking out?
Mama is not buying the stuff. And so we're checking out, and she checks out before me, and she spends it was barely $30 or whatever. And I check out, and once I check out, she's like, oh my God. I'm like, what? She's like, you're a bad shopper. And I was like, why am I bad? Why does that make me a bad shopper? Because I spent $100? Like, that makes me a bad shopper.
Apparently you should have been looking for more bargains.
I guess. So anyway, that was just kind of funny to me that she said that. And but she did it. I mean, I felt like she did a good job. There were a lot of things that she probably could have gotten that she didn't. She specifically wanted a pink blanket, like a Christmas blanket that it was light pink. And she looked specifically for that, and she found it, and she got it. And
of course, now that she's working and she's starting to learn kind of the concept of money, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we still have to guide her a little bit because I'm like, girl, you got car insurance to pay for, you got your cell phone, like, you're helping pay for school too. So, do you really need to go shopping and buy yet another 15th Georgia shirt for Saturdays?
Hey, that helps her get better tips on Saturdays and Sundays.
So anyway, I thought that was interesting. So we don't have a whole lot of time because you are going to have to go. You got somewhere to be by 12. Yeah. So, but I was going to ask you one last thing that I heard on another podcast that I thought was kind of interesting. And so, is there a dream vacation that you have or would want to take that you think I would have no interest in? I can think of one I think you would like a dream. We're talking
I would
dream
say,
vacation here.
First of all, dream vacation for me would be kind of the little cabanas out in the ocean, that kind of thing, which I know you would not object to at all.
Correct.
What I think anything animal related,
yes,
like a safari in Africa, exactly I would love. You wouldn't love it. Or if we went like specifically for snorkeling or scuba diving or something, like I don't think you would necessarily get into that. Which again anything animal related, I'm gonna be all about.
So that's the podcast I was listening to. They went on their honeymoon and they took an African safari and then ended up somewhere else amazing too. But this safari, what she's talking about, they're doing. I'm like, there's nothing about that sounds interesting to me. I mean, obviously I would do it because I'm not going to miss out on that time with you, but I would be like, oh, geez, should we really like staying here where, one, I'm a picky eater, two, am I trying to traipse, that's the word I'm looking for, through a jungle and possibly get eaten by a jaguar?
No, I would not do it on foot.
Oh yeah, they did. They took some. No. I mean, they had a guide that was with them with a rifle, but they did some on foot. But then most of them.
I suppose that would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, some were on foot looking for some of the animals, but most of them were in their the jeeps and different things that they drive in. But I was like, oh, Kent would 100% love an African safari, love it, and I would be like, are we really spending money on that? Yeah,
I would have no desire to like do the hunting side of exotic animals and all that stuff, but to go and be in there.
Allowed, I don't think.
Once some people pay big money to go take those kind of trips.
We're not that people. No. So I'm just trying to think, is there something that I would love that you would hate? And the only thing I can think of is maybe like going to London and like doing all of those kind of things, like the cat, like going to England and like seeing the royal castle and like geeking out over that, or like the Harry Potter type things.
Look, kids, there's Big Ben.
I think that would be stuff you
would not be interested in at all. At 46, after being married to you for the period of time, I think I would enjoy it a whole lot more now than I would have, let's just say 5 or 10 years ago. Yeah. Because like
you still would not watch the Harry Potter movies and pay attention so that you could learn. Well,
I wouldn't be able to stay awake either. Correct. But no, the whole royal family and all that stuff. Like I'm intrigued by it now because you're so intrigued by it. It's on and we watch and we talk about it. So from that respect, I would probably appreciate it more. The other thing is like, I mean, I'd have to be on ibuprofen, like geeked up on ibuprofen and biofreeze the whole time, because I can only walk and do so much.
Do you know where that love of the royal family for me started?
No, my timer's going off.
Okay, yeah. It started at Princess Di's wedding. I remember watching my mom watch the royal wedding at that point in time, and that's where my love of the royals started.
I would imagine that most people in America that like the royal family is probably the same, because she was the one that transcended the ocean and was able to connect with people in ways that the royal family has never been able to.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I thought that was interesting. I thought it was a good question. So that's a good question. Ask your spouse. Think about that between the two of you. That's a good conversation starter to see, are you guys on the same page, or are there things that you absolutely would hate doing? Why does my hand look so long in this video?
It's because of the yellow light coming from this direction.
It's like the lady at vacation.
Stop. You need to stop it right now. All right.
Okay. All right. I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. We thank you so much for watching and coming out.
Thanks again, Colby, for the sign.
Out with us. Yes, thank you so much, Colby. We love you guys. Bye. Thank y'all so much for listening again today. If you are enjoying this podcast, please consider giving us a rate and review. That definitely helps push our podcast out to more listeners just like you. So we would appreciate that. And we love you guys so much. Don't forget to give us a text and let us know what you want us to talk about. Love you guys. Bye.